Hey, I hope you're well. Thank you so much for this question. It's a very, very great one. Of course, as I always say, the answer is going to differ depending on the organisation and the role specifically. However, when it comes to interview prep, I always prep the same way, so hopefully this will be helpful for you. I always split my interview preparation up into 3 specific categories. So myself, the company, and then questions. First section, myself, or in this case, yourself. Make sure your house is in order, make sure your affairs are in order, make sure your CV is up to date, make sure your LinkedIn is up to date, make sure you have specific examples of specific and measurable things that you achieved in your last or current role that you will be able to reiterate in an interview. Also, make sure you can explain any gaps in your CV or any other discrepancies. Second section is the company. Make sure you do your research, find out everything that there is to know about the company, about the team, about the role, if they've gone through a scandal recently, if they've gotten an award, if they've run a specific campaign in the last month. Make sure you are aware because it could come up in the interview or they might just expect you to know it. Specifically for policy and public affairs, I would also say make sure you're up to date with the news and what's going on in the political world. So for example, around this time, you might get asked a question on the general election. Do you think we will have an election later on in the year, or do you think it could be in May? Final section is questions, and this is arguably the most important section. Do not, and I repeat, do not go into any interview for a job that you actually want without having questions prepared. And when I say questions, I don't mean just surface level questions. Your questions need to be formulated in a way that will allow the person answering them to give you as much insight into the role, the company, the structure of the company, the team, everything as much as possible. So for example, one of my favorite interview questions would be, what are the measures for success in this role and what would you expect me to have achieved in the next 3 or 6 months? Something like that. And I say this is the most important section because an interview is not just the employer seeing if you are a good fit for them. You also need to see if they are a good fit for you. So ask questions and get the answers to your questions to make sure that you're not going to put yourself into a place of working that you don't actually want to be in. I do have a few more tips on this page or on my Instagram page, but I hope this was helpful, and if you need anything else, please do let me know.